Stop settling for decade-old rimfires. This year, something shifted. 7 European manufacturers, Czech forges, Austrian workshops, Finnish precision plants. They all cracked the same code at the same time. They proved that .22 Magnum doesn't have to be a compromise. Match chambers so tight you can feel the difference on the first shot. Cold-forged barrels engineered to hunt accurately at 150 meters. Ergonomics ripped straight from Olympic competition platforms. And here's what really matters. Most hunters have absolutely no clue these rifles exist yet. The .22 Magnum just stopped being a cartridge for beginners. It's now a precision hunting platform. This is what it looks like when European gunsmithing stops playing it safe. Let's go. Moving on. You want to talk about raw packing efficiency. The Little Badger is where compromise becomes strategy. This is an Italian break-action single shot that bends every conventional hunting rifle rule. It strips away a traditional stock, ditches the polymer furniture, and gives you a steel wire frame coupled to a rubber butt pad. Weigh it in at just under 3 pounds. That's almost incomprehensible for a rimfire rifle capable of .22 Magnum accuracy at genuine hunting distances. The magnesium receiver and 16.5-inch carbon barrel pair together like synchronized swimmers. 16.5 inches of hard steel, hammer forged to specification, threaded at the muzzle for suppressor installation. The gun folds down to 17.5 inches total, length, not width, and you slide the entire platform into a rucksack side pocket without thinking twice. On the practical end, the rail system runs across 4 sides of the forearm. You bolt a fiber optic Williams ghost ring sight there, or a low-power magnified optic. The Little Badger doesn't care. It adapts. Here's the deal breaker though, and this one stings if you're coming from a magazine-fed platform. Single shot. 1 round per manually opened action. On a target stand, precision drill, or sitting over bait in a controlled environment, it's a virtue. A field, tracking a fleeing rabbit across open brush, that single round becomes a liability. You get 1 chance. Miss, and you're reloading manually while your quarry vanishes into tall grass. Some hunters orbit around this constraint. Most can't stomach it. The street price lands you around $160 to $180. Exceptional value for the engineering crammed into this frame. But let's be honest, this is a specialized tool wearing a minimalist philosophy. You're not buying a rifle, you're buying a concept. And that concept? It's pure survival pragmatism. Nothing else comes close to this footprint to capability ratio. German precision never sleeps. What Anschütz pioneered in Olympic shooting now filters into rimfire hunting. The 1761 is a bolt-action repeater that marries biathlon-grade accuracy with field ergonomics. Every mechanical detail carries championship bloodline. The cold hammer-forged 20-inch barrel threads for suppressors. 5-round magazine feeds with mechanical inevitability. The walnut stock grabs your palm with diamond checkering. A Bavarian cheek piece guides your eye, and the bolt throw feels like operating precision machinery. Drilled, tapped, dovetailed for scope or iron sights. 6.4 pounds. You're carrying machine tool precision that hunts. Here's the deal breaker. Anschütz maintenance culture assumes you know how to run a precision rimfire. The trigger demands understanding. Casual weekend plinkers will feel frustrated by its exactness. Additionally, the 1761 climbs toward $1,200 to $1,400 on the street. You're buying German optical perfection, not a workhorse. Accuracy hovers around 0.5 MOA at 50 meters. Real-world tests show this rifle punishing careless shooting while rewarding fundamentals. The trigger breaks so cleanly that breath control becomes your limiter. Street pricing runs $1,200 to $1,400 for the classic configuration, climbing higher for variants. You're purchasing institutional German knowledge. The Anschütz 1761 seduces through mechanical superiority rooted in Olympic competition. This is what happens when hunting rifle inheritance comes from generations of international sport shooters. Every component serves accuracy first. It delivers both precision and practicality, a level that makes every other rimfire in this category seem like compromise. Now we elevate. The Sako Quad is the rifle that pioneered something fundamental. A single platform that hunts 4 different cartridges without re-registering your scope, without losing zero, without philosophical compromise. This is modular rimfire architecture. 4 calibers live inside one serialized receiver. 17 Mach 2, 17 HMR, 22 long rifle, and 22 Magnum. You unscrew a barrel assembly using a 5mm hex wrench, twist 3 full rotations, and drop a fresh barrel into the bolt face. Headspace locks automatically. Your sight picture remains untouched. The heavy barrel variant runs a 22-inch free-floating barrel forged in the traditional Sako hammer forge technique. The bore profile stays consistent from chamber to muzzle, eliminating the harmonic whip that plagues lighter tubes. Recoil from .22 Magnum is absorbed cleanly, predictably. Accuracy hovers around 0.5 to 0.8 MOA, at 50 meters match-grade territory for a rifle that weighs between 7 and 8.8 pounds, depending on stock material. You choose satin-finished walnut, laminate wood, or synthetic polymer. The trigger breaks between 2 and 4 pounds. Fully adjustable, glass smooth in both stages. Here's what cuts deeper than you'd expect. The color coding system, while genius in theory, becomes cognitive friction in practice. Each barrel gets a painted ring. Each magazine matches that ring. Your scope turrets match that ring if you buy Sako's proprietary setup through Burris. Miss one color match during a high-stress hunting moment. Say you're tracking a coyote across open ground and you grab the wrong magazine in fading light, and you've just loaded 17 HMR into a chamber cut for .22 Magnum. The firing pin cycles. The cartridge doesn't fire. You now have a mechanical jam in a live hunting scenario. Sako built mechanical redundancy into the bolt face to physically reject incompatible ammo, but that safeguard means nothing if panic overrides your muscle memory. The quad runs roughly $1,300 to $1,600 depending on configuration. You're paying a premium for modularity. And modularity, while seductive on paper, introduces complexity that contradicts hunting's core demand: simplicity under pressure. Most hunters stay loyal to 1 or 2 barrels, never rotating. They could have bought a cheaper rifle. Still, for the prepared hunter who hunts different species across different seasons, small varmints in spring, deer-sized game in autumn with a center-fire conversion barrel, the quad's flexibility becomes worth every penny. But wait until you see what sits at number 1. This is just the foundation. Now we get serious. The Bergara Micro Rimfire represents Spanish precision engineering, leaning hard into competitive DNA while maintaining hunting-grade versatility. This rifle was born in match competitions, specifically the NRL 22 circuit, where sub-MOA groups at 50 meters, separate winners from also-rans. Bergara took that bloodline and weaponized it for actual field hunting. The result feels like a rifle from the future wearing a minimalist aesthetic. The carbon-wrapped barrel is where brilliance lives. Bergara machines a steel core, cold-forged hammer-forged steel with button-rifled lands, then wraps it in genuine carbon fiber tubing. Taper number 6 profile, 18 or 20 inches depending on configuration. The carbon envelope doesn't just look aggressive. It manages thermal dynamics like a precision instrument. Steel wants to expand when powder charges ignite. Carbon stays locked. The marriage of materials creates a harmonic signature that dampens vibration before it propagates into the stock. You feel this the moment you fire. The gun doesn't jump, it yields. At 5.4 to 5.7 pounds fully assembled, you're carrying match-grade accuracy with ultralight portability. The receiver footprint uses the Remington 700 architecture, a calculated decision that opens the entire ecosystem of third-party triggers, magazines, and chassis systems built over decades for that platform. Bergara Performance Trigger ships stock, but if you want a two-stage match trigger or a single-stage tactical unit, you swap it without modifying the action. This modularity extends hunting logistics. You're not married to proprietary parts. You're not held hostage by supply chain decisions. You source solutions from a global ecosystem of aftermarket manufacturers. Here's where enthusiasm crashes into reality, though. Carbon fiber finishes scratch. Visibly, one tumble against a rocky outcrop, and the aesthetic takes damage. The weave pattern beneath bruises easily. Unlike traditional blue steel, which patinas beautifully after decades of honest wear, carbon fiber scuffing reads as careless handling. Some hunters see character in battle scars. Others see a rifle that looks abused within 3 seasons. It's a cosmetic liability, not a functional one. The barrel still shoots. The carbon still manages temperature. But if you're the type who respects tradition and the dignified aging of serious firearms, this Finnish philosophy might conflict with your values. Street pricing runs $1,100 to $1,350 for the carbon variant. Traditional blued steel BMR models land around $950 to $1,100. You're paying roughly $200 for weight reduction and thermal efficiency. For a rifle destined for brush hunting or long-distance varmint work, that premium justifies itself. For casual weekend range sessions, you're buying into a philosophy you might not share. I know the competition shooters reading this are already planning their cart. Sound off below if you've already committed to the Bergara ecosystem. I'm curious how many of you are secretly building Rimfire precision platforms that rival centerfire rigs. The answer might surprise you. Entering the elite tier now, the Tikka T1X isn't just a rimfire rifle dressed in minimalist clothing. It's a statement about training philosophy. Sako engineered this platform so that every dimension, trigger geometry, receiver height, bolt lift, sight rail spacing, magazine depth, mirrors the T3X centerfire platform. You shoot the T1X with .22 Magnum on a Tuesday. You fire the T3X with .308 centerfire on a Saturday. Your muscle memory stays locked. Your cheek weld remains identical. Your trigger finger finds the same break weight, same travel distance, same crispness. This is crossover architecture. This is training efficiency weaponized. The crossover barrel profile represents actual engineering innovation. Heavy-walled near the chamber for harmonic stability. Strategically vortex toward the muzzle to maintain rigidity without penalty. The result is a 16-inch or 20-inch tube that delivers match-grade accuracy while keeping total gun weight around 5.5 pounds. Recoil from .22 Magnum feels like a polite suggestion. You're not fighting the rifle, you're negotiating with it. The single-stage trigger breaks between 2 and 4 pounds, fully adjustable, and feels like bending glass rather than pressing metal. The modular synthetic stock uses interchangeable cheek pieces and pistol grip components borrowed directly from the T3X ecosystem. You fine-tune geometry to match your face shape, your shoulder width, your personal shooting form. This level of ergonomic customization across a rimfire platform used to cost 3 times the price. Tikka demolished that pricing barrier. The 10-round polymer magazine sits flush, nests cleanly, and feeds with zero hesitation across multiple ammunition manufacturers. But here's the friction point that trips committed hunters. The T1X philosophy assumes you own or intend to own a T3X centerfire. The modularity becomes economic waste if you're buying this as a standalone platform. You're paying a premium for architectural compatibility you might never actually use. Additionally, the training-first design means this rifle demands shooting discipline. It's not a point-and-shoot varmint gun. It's a precision instrument that punishes sloppy technique and rewards deliberate fundamentals. Beginners find that feedback loop humbling. Veterans find it invaluable. For casual shooters, frustrating. Street price runs $1,200 to $1,350 depending on barrel length and stock finish. You're purchasing a gateway rifle that makes centerfire hunting fundamentally sharper. For serious hunters building a progression from rimfire accuracy work into larger caliber field shooting, the T1X represents the smartest philosophical investment available. Most hunters never grasp this. They buy it as a standalone and wonder why they didn't save money going cheaper. Closer to the crown, the Steyr Zephyr II arrives wrapped in a paradox. It looks like a rifle your grandfather would have carried in 1970, but it hunts like a rifle from 2026. Austrian gunsmiths at Steyr rejected tactical modularity, rejected polymer polymorphism, rejected the entire philosophy of contemporary hunting rifle aesthetics. They said no to compromise. They built a rifle that honors wood and steel while weaponizing cutting-edge metallurgy underneath. The European walnut stock sits like sculpture. Bavarian cheekpiece rises with organic grace, guides your eye directly onto whatever optic you mount, creates a sight picture that feels ancestral yet mechanically precise. The forearm ends in a schnabel curve, a subtle flare that whispers rather than shouts. Laser-cut fish-scale checkering covers the grip surfaces, running deep enough to bite your palm without drawing blood. This isn't aesthetic theater. This is ergonomics, built on tradition rather than trend forecasting. The butter knife bolt handle, Steyr's signature, cycles with a motion that feels like you're operating a mechanical Swiss watch. 60-degree throw. Minimal binding. The manual safety lives at the tang, operable by thumb from either hand during live hunting scenarios. The barrel engineering is where silence becomes intelligence. 500mm cold hammer forged steel arrives from Steyr's foundry, carrying those distinctive spiral tool marks. Unmistakable proof of handcrafted production runs, rather than automated CNC anonymity. MANNOX plasma nitriding treatment thickens the steel's molecular structure, hardens it to depths that resist corrosion, salt spray, and atmospheric humidity like nothing else in this price band. Real-world testing shows consistent 0.35 to 0.75 inch grouping at 50 yards across multiple ammunition weights and manufacturers. The trigger breaks clean, crisp, around 950 grams, not adjustable, but engineered at the factory to feel like an act of intention rather than mechanical necessity. Here's the singular weakness, and it's ideological rather than functional. You pay roughly $1,800 to $2,200 for this rifle, and much of that investment buys you aesthetics and heritage. Performance per dollar, a Bergara BMR or Tikka T1X delivers objectively superior accuracy benchmarks. Raw modularity, negligible. The Zephyr II demands you accept beauty as a legitimate engineering specification. Not everyone does. Function-first shooters find this philosophy wasteful. They're not wrong, but they're also missing the deeper truth. Some rifles transcend ballistics and become objects of genuine aspiration. This is one of them. Accuracy remains superlative. Reliability remains absolute. Handling feels like you've shouldered 1,000 rifles, and this one arrived pre-fitted to your exact skeleton. Every detail whispers rather than screams. Everything works. But wait until number one. This is where everything you've learned gets reimagined. The number one spot is locked in. The CZ457 owns this category because it commits to a single, uncompromising vision. Modular precision without apology. without theater, without excess. This Czech-manufactured rifle represents the synthesis point where every competing philosophy collapses into clarity. You get the modular barrel-swapping genius of the Sako Quad, except the engineering actually works without color-coding nightmares. You get match chamber accuracy that rivals the Bergara BMR, except you pay $300 less and never worry about carbon fiber scuffing. You get the philosophical purity of the Steyr Zephyr II, except the Zephyr charges you $600 extra for wood grain that doesn't improve trajectory. The bolt rotation sits at 60 degrees shortest throw in this entire ranking. Your trigger finger indexes, your thumb guides the cocking piece back, and the bolt cycles with mechanical efficiency that feels inevitable rather than engineered. The new striker system weighs 60% less than legacy CZ designs, which means lock time collapses, which means vibration dampens, which means your first round accuracy feels predatory. A red witness pin protrudes from the bolt's rear, confirming striker engagement. In low-light hunting conditions, dawn timber hunts, dusk prairie walks, you feel that confirmation tactily. No guessing, no fumbling with safety manipulation. You know the gun is ready. The barrel assembly threads into the receiver using a quick change mechanism that requires zero specialty tools. Field strip the .22 Magnum barrel in 90 seconds. Drop in a 17 HMR or 22 LR barrel. Twist, lock, shoot. Your scope maintains zero because the rail never separates from the receiver. The match chambers, CIP, standard compliance with tightest tolerances, deliver sub-MOA accuracy with ammunition that costs 1/3 the price of premium competition loads. You're not forced into match-grade ammunition. Budget rounds still group reliably. The 525mm varmint barrel, 0.866-inch diameter, stays consistently cold during rapid-fire drills because mass absorbs thermal energy before it warps accuracy. Here's the brutal comparison that seals this ranking. The Sako Quad promises modularity, but delivers cognitive load. The color coding system introduces failure points during high-stress hunting. The Bergara BMR delivers superior match accuracy, but sacrifices robustness and costs $150 more. The Tikka T1X assumes you'll buy a centerfire to justify the purchase, which doubles your investment for training benefits that don't materialize for most hunters. The Steyr Zephyr II is objectively beautiful, but delivers no performance advantage worth $600. The CZ457 gives you everything those rifles promise, while eliminating their compromises. Accuracy benchmarks sit between 0.5 and 1.0 MOA at 50 meters, depending on ammunition and shooter discipline. The adjustable trigger, 8 to 15 newtons pull weight, 0.5 to 7mm travel, lets you dial ergonomics to your exact preference. The walnut or polymer stock absorbs recoil cleanly. Street price runs $590 to $700 for the varmint configuration, $650 to $800 for the match target model. You're purchasing modular precision at a price point that doesn't require justification to your bank account. The CZ457 doesn't seduce you with aesthetic grandeur or training philosophy or exotic materials. It seduces you with reliability, accuracy, modularity, and value. It's the rifle that works. It's the rifle that evolves with your hunting needs. It's the rifle that makes every other platform in this ranking seem like compromises dressed as features. This is what happens when Czech engineering stops performing for judges and starts performing for hunters who actually live in the field. 7 rifles, 1 truth. The .22 Magnum is no longer a beginner's cartridge. European manufacturers figured out that precision doesn't demand compromise. Cold hammer-forged barrels, match chambers, competition-grade triggers. These aren't luxury features anymore. They're standard issue. Pick your philosophy. The Chiappa prioritizes weight. The Sako and CZ deliver modularity. The Bergara excels in precision. The Tikka trains you for centerfire hunting. The Steyr honors tradition without sacrificing performance. Half the ammunition cost of centerfire. Rifles starting under $600. A learning curve that sharpens marksmanship faster than high recoil platforms allow. This is why serious hunters are migrating to .22 Magnum. Not because it's trendy, because it works. Which rifle calls to you? If you want the truth without compromise, subscribe. Stay sharp.